on Rishi Sunak. I've got to be. That dude's a man. Look how small he is.
So I got some interesting stories about there if you want to assassinate him.
Not literally.
No.
The character kind.
I've got my picture outside number 10. I don't care what they think about me anymore. So he is short. And do you notice his trousers are always like short? Next time you see Rishi Sunak full body, which is rare, his trousers are short, so they like come in at his ankles. But each suit he wears is like £3,000-4,000. So you got to question, why are they making his trousers so short? It's to make him look taller. And also, because it's a tailor's trick to make your legs look longer. Also, as well, we all had to sit down. So when it's like some Tom Cruise shit, right? Yeah. Like the cameramen are all shooting from the ground, and we all had to sit down in the room because he looked at me. I'm like 6'3", and they're like, no, you guys get on a knee, mate. Yeah. So I think there's nothing wrong with being short, but there's a lot wrong with pretending you're not. I think that's the point. He clearly tries to give off, because I thought he'd be taller than he was.
That's got to be like the power moves for the global shifts, hasn't it? Like he's got to look. I guess he might have to look more powerful.
Imagine
in stature than he.
And take away how good or bad he is at the job, and just hit the headlines of he's worth like hundreds of millions and he leads a country at 42, and the biggest worry is his length of trousers. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? He's done all right from a perspective of success. He could probably be like, it doesn't matter that. Yeah,
and his missus is a billionaire, right? Isn't she?
Yeah. But she doesn't live in the UK, so
no. So what was that like? Tell us about the trip to number 10 then. How did it come about? What was it about? And was that must have been mind blowing to be down there.
Yeah, so I was sat in my studio on a Thursday night and I just got an email that was like confidential, Damien Jordan, and that's a good way to get someone to read an email. Just put confidential in the title. I opened it and it was like, do you want to come to number 10 to talk about fraud prevention? And I just emailed back going, well, this is clearly a scam, isn't it? You email me about fraud prevention. You email me on Thursday. It was like, I can assure you it's not a scam, blah, blah, blah. We're inviting some creators down. Their whole thing is they want to get outside of traditional media because they understand the conversations happening online. I've got like a few million views on content about the mistakes that I think that they've made, and they can't control that, can they? They have no way of influencing that. So they invited us down. We went down on the Tuesday. We got there. They actually had the wrong name down for me on the door. They had another Damien in finance called Damien Farhay, so I think I backdoored it in. I don't think they meant to invite me.
You've done that a few times, haven't you? Yeah. Daniel was telling me at the Christmas party. Oh, sorry.
I backdoored it. Yeah. So, and then we go in, we're in there for an hour and it's like quick turnaround, and they present like what they're trying to do to prevent fraud. Because if you spend any time online, fraud is like everywhere, and it's almost like you're desensitized to it.
Yeah.
But when you actually think about the fact that you're probably targeted 20, 30 times a day through like comments, emails, texts, that's pretty crazy.
I mean, the bots under your boys' videos will be mad, a replica of...
Come talk to me on Telegram. With a winky face. Fuck off.
Yeah, and they work.
That's the scary thing, isn't it?
But what you actually look at when you look at the UK versus other countries is because we don't do anything about it. So the scammers are global, and what they do is they look for the easiest markets to target. The Americans have had loads of success in stopping it by basically chasing them around the globe and locking them up for decades. So the scammers go, we're not going to target America because it's pointless. The Germans are the same. By us not having an aggressive stance towards these scammers, we essentially just are like a car with the key in the ignition, right? So we need to do something, otherwise it just keeps getting worse.
What was the stat that you put on your video? Like how much money is invested in it versus what it's worth? It was like a percent of...
Oh yeah, so 41% of all crime in the UK is fraud, and most of that is digital. 41%, yeah. So like when they're talking about stabbings and terrorism, it's like a drop in the ocean. But 1% of the police's budget is spent tackling it.
Saw that one, yeah. It was a good video, yeah.
Yeah, 5 million cases of fraud reported last year, whereas most people don't report it because of the shame. Yeah. And only 5,000 of those resulted in a conviction. So
because of the shame?
Most people won't admit that they've been scammed because they feel like they're idiots, essentially.
I once got about 3 years ago, I went to do like the Christmas payroll for everybody that worked here, and my bank account was zero. And then at that point I'm like, where's all my money gone? And then I realised that my phone stopped working.
Oh.
So what had happened was I must have clicked on a fucking dodgy link watching a Beard Meets Food video, and somebody had took my phone number and put it onto another phone, and then that was my access code to like PayPal and the bank. They then must have figured out what my bank account details were and wiped the bank account. So I lost all the money out of the business current account. Just got done.
You got it back though, yeah.
So but I have to report the fraud and then get the money back. But the length of that, like I'm like, all right, fair. Take all the money out of the bank account. That's like it's tough, but you've got through one level. But to get to the point where you've had to get the PAC code to transfer my phone number onto another phone so that you could then use that as an access key to get onto my bank. I was like, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Bastards.
The craziest example that I've seen was one of my mates. And you know, when you have a Christmas party and it's like a big exhibition hall and you hire like tables. So you're in there with loads of other companies. So you could have like 200 tables in the room. When everyone's pissed at the end of the night, they just leave their jackets on the back of their seats. And the scammers will hire a table in there, knowing that, and then go around and just like take pictures of everyone's ID and cards, put them back in. And my mate, he got a call from Hertz, you know, the car company. And they were like, are you going to bring back the 3 Land Rovers that you took? Like, what are you on about? And they were like, yeah, you hired 3 different Land Rovers from 3 different locations across the country. And he was like, I've not done that. And they were like, oh, okay. So they just took them and sent them to China and sell them.
Wow.
And then his sister called him and said, something really weird's just happened. The postman came to his door with a package for you. It was in an apple box. And some guy jumped out the hedge and grabbed it and ran off. And basically they take all the details, they just sell them online on the black web. And then every type of scammer that does every type of hustle just rinsed him. And for like 6 months to 12 months, he was like just trying to battle all these different scams.
My God.
Simply because he got hold of his wallet.
It's mad.
That's terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've been scammed, or have you ever?
1 in 15 adults have in the UK.
I don't think I have. I'm just thinking in the back of my head, I'm sure I had something with a bank account I had back in the day, maybe, where like I don't know if it, you know, like that kind of really primitive stuff where they used to like skim debit cards and then like, make new versions of the card with that data. I don't think you can do that now, but I think I might. I don't know, but I had so little money that it probably maybe somebody took it 80 quid and I reported it, and it was like it was back in the next day or something. But nothing major, thankfully.
It's investment scams now. So the problem is that people's like perception of scams fails to keep up with the times. So most people think of scams as like what you had, where the money goes missing from your bank account. But actually, the most common ones now are like fake investment scams. So 40% of Premier League football clubs are sponsored by scam companies at some point. You know,
Saw that video.
So it's like what appear to be legitimate companies that are just actually you give your life savings to and then they take it. So that's a more prevalent scam now than the stuff that you're.
Because is it not like it's like on Instagram you've got to declare and YouTube you've got to declare it's been like a paid I suppose that's what would be on a football shirt, wouldn't it? But
you would think
I'm thinking like, is there some sort of like a vetting process to who they can be sponsored by, especially within that legal realm or that financial realm?
So they'll say
owned by?
They'll say it's FCA regulated, which is the regulator.
Yeah.
But what happened when we were in Europe with Brexit was there was something called passporting rights. So they could be authorised in Europe through Cyprus, which has a patchy reputation, let's say.
Right.
And then they would instantly be authorised here. So what they got around it that way. So then the football clubs can go, well, they're authorised by the regulator, but it's actually due to the passporting rights that we had with Europe.
God. You think football teams would do more due diligence, wouldn't you, in terms of like who's actually sponsoring them?
Yeah. But then they have like gambling, Wonga, all of that, you know. So and
I wonder how many are actually sponsored by. Leeds United was sponsored by a gambling thing. I don't know if they're sponsored by this year or last. I've forgotten. But like there was some gambling company I'd never heard of before was this main sponsor.
Yeah, and it's because you know lads who like to gamble are the main demographic that they're after. Football, so that's why you get like crypto betting and these scam companies.
I put 50 quid on Newcastle to beat Arsenal last night. Thankfully I didn't. I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
I'm a City fan.
Yeah. Man City?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw you out that window. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was like an anecdotal thing to say that that's the first time I've lost in ages. I've won loads of money.
Did you do it so it was like, no matter what happens, I'm happy here? Because
yeah, that's why I do it, yeah.
There was a hell of an atmosphere at that ground, wasn't there?
Yeah. Right. But like, yeah, I bet against Arsenal like all the time. Because like then if they lose, I'm not that depressed because I just won some money.
But you said they were on for winning the Premiership,
yeah, but then as we discussed in the last episode, they blew that when I was away. But
three supporters like you, I'm not surprised. You fucking shithouse.
I think it's still on. Like
Mathematically, but it's Man City aren't going to lose. You're just doing that Man City, smug Man City thing now where you're like, yeah, well, it could
Man City
happen.
going to win? Is that what?
well, we've got some big games. So we've got like Real Madrid and stuff, and City have a tendency to kind of like
In Europe, don't worry about that.
unravel in big games sometimes. So I think I could see us dropping points. Everton are fighting for their lives. So I don't like playing teams at the bottom of the table.
Mike Winnett's an Everton fan.
Is he?
Are they getting relegated?
Oh, yeah.
Are they going down with Leeds?
Well, I think Southampton are almost certainly down. The rest is a bit of a toss-up, but...
Let's cut this bit out. I don't know. This is not going to last a long time, is it? If everybody watches it next year, like, oh, I remember that when Leeds went down with Everton. Well, what was the outcome of number 10 anyway? The visit, like, what was the?
I mean, it's one of them where it's like we're going to do loads about it, but it's such a big problem, and they're saying, oh, we're going to have 400 staff that are dedicated, blah blah blah. But that's still only 0.1% of the police force. I mean, I think it's one of these where it's like it's such a problem, especially with younger people, that they're probably releasing this policy to try and make it look like they're current, and then they're involving YouTubers to make them also selves look more current. They need to do something about it, but it's 41% of crime. Like it's like you can't solve that with 400 staff.